Good morning, my name is Clinton Draper. I am a teacher and studio owner at Distilled Pilates in North Vancouver. If you are a current client for the studio or if you're just watching and streaming in, this is meant to be a mid-level mat class just to take you through a fairly classical expression of the repertoire. Please listen to your bodies. Don't do exercises if they don't feel appropriate. If you want to modify anything, bring it up or down, please feel free. And there's no point in pushing through and doing anything that doesn't feel good. We'll use one prop today. I'm going to be using a metal pole. At home, a rope, a tie, a TheraBand, a metal dowel or a wooden dowel, anything that allows you to hold on about this height and take your arms into these ranges will do just fine. So you can grab that, come back and join me. I'm going to be kneeling. You can start standing. The reason I'm not standing is because the video cuts off the top of my head. Camera angles are hard. Start with the pole, rope, prop, whatever it might be, in between your hands and grow as tall as you can through the spinal column. With an inhale, take the arms up just to shoulder height, and then exhale, press those arms down towards your hips. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, they press down. Breathe them up. Maintain the height in the spine as the arms lower, and one more just to shoulder height. And come down. Higher now, the arms and prop come up above your head. Press them down towards the hips. Inhale, growing tall and coming down. Don't get overly caught up in where the shoulders are at this stage. Broad across the back and the front is good. And if your shoulder blades elevate a little bit up by the ears, it's fine. As long as it feels good and there's a feeling of freedom of movement in those shoulders. Last one, bring the arms up and then press them down just to shoulder height. Hold right there. Plug the upper arm bones into the sockets. Bend your elbows, pulling the prop in towards your chest, and then punch the arms away. So it's a push-up action. You keep going. I'm going to turn sideways. You don't have to. As you bend, draw the prop in and keep your elbows lifted as though they were on a shelf, so they're not dropping down, nor are those elbow points picked up above shoulder height. There could be a sense of trying to pull the prop apart, like you were ripping it in half. If you do have a rope or a tie, you'd be pulling it taut as you draw the arms in and out. Take one final one here, finish with arms in the forward position, and then float them up high once again. Level one, bend your elbows, bring the bar down to the crown of your head, punch straight up. Bend down and press. You're welcome to stay right there. If your shoulders are open enough to allow, bring the metal bar to behind your head and then punch back up. Listening to the shoulders. If anything feels grumpy, don't do it. And press. Try to stretch out the pecs, the musculature in the front of the chest, while simultaneously staying broad across your upper back. So maybe there's a sense of the elbows reaching out to the right and left. So final idea here as we take our next and final few, keep the front ribs tethered in so you're not going into a little arch in your mid-back. Final one, bring the arms all the way back up to a nice high place and then lower them down just to shoulder height. Stabilize your hips, especially true if you are standing. Rotate the torso to the right and then breathe that through center. Go left and bring it through center. Arms bar are parallel to the floor, ribs and upper thoracic spine rotating. Just not overemphasize the movement in the cervical spine, so you don't need to crank your neck too far. One last one left. Breathe it up to center and stay right there. From here, the arms can come up towards the ceiling. Find yourself with a little micro bend in your knees if you were standing, and then side bend over to the right. Take a breath there, and then breathe it all the way back to center, over towards your left. And bring it back. Now keep working with that range if it feels good, or go again right and sway your hips to the left. Bring it all the way back up. Hips go the opposite direction of your side bend, deep in the shape, and come back. One more each side. Hopefully feeling this in the side body, but also in your outer hip. And come back. One last one. And breathe it back. Arms can lower all the way down. Release one end of your prop. Take it to behind you. Once you've got the prop behind you, your feet should be parallel, hip distance apart or so. Nod your chin and start to roll down through your spine. As you peel down, your prop is going to come all the way down towards the back of your ankle joints. Hold in the forward fold there for a moment.
And then take the arms up and over your head, stretching them as far as the shoulders are willing to entertain at this stage. Take a breath or two there. For those who are familiar with the back rowing series from the reformer work, it's like that, like boomerang, like some of our arm positions in the advanced mat. And then you can take those arms all the way back down until the prop is back down by the back of your legs. From there, micro bend the knees and start to roll up, articulating your pelvis up first so that you can find a little bit of a stretch in your low back and stack all the way up to tall. Beautiful. From there, take a couple steps forward so you're at the front edge of your mat. Drop the prop, you don't need it anymore, and then you can have a lay down on your back. I'd like you to start with your feet parallel, hip distance apart, and the arms will be down by your sides. Take a second to find weight here. Maybe a deep breath in through the nose, and a nice big exhalation through your mouth. Another one like that. As you inhale, you fill the back and the sides of the rib cage up with your breath. And as you exhale, breathe out as completely as you can, and you'll feel the abdominals gently activate at the conclusion of the breath. Next time you inhale, float your two arms up towards the ceiling. Hold them there, long, strong, and straight. And then inhale just the right arm out to the side. Exhale it back up, reaching to the ceiling. Inhale, left arm. And breathe it back. Find the movement originating right from within the shoulder joints. And there's a sense maybe that the upper arm bone, the humerus, plugs into the socket as the arm opens and also as it comes back up. We'll take one last one to the left. That should leave you even. And then with both arms high, go into a scissoring action. One arm down towards the pelvis, one arm overhead, and change those arms. Breathe through this as you like, as long as the breath is full and healthful feeling. Letting the front of the chest rise and fall so you're not immobilizing or bracing that part of your body. Take one or two more, enough that the last one was the left arm reaching overhead so that you're even, and then both arms come back towards the ceiling. Notice where your spinal column is, low back in particular. Stabilize your current shape, it should feel good, and then without changing the shape or the alignment of the spine, float your right leg to tabletop. A little more flattening in the low belly, draw the left leg up to tabletop. From here, right arm and left leg reach in opposite directions. Breathe those limbs back to their starting position. Left arm or right leg. And breathe it back. As you're reaching the one arm overhead, keep the shoulder dropped down to the mat and heavy. As you reach the legs away, keep a sense that that leg bone is plugging into its socket as well, maybe encouraging the psoas to be doing the bulk of the work here. One more each. And come back. And a final one. Breathe it back. Now if that went well, glue your legs together gently. Both arms overhead, both legs away. Let's exhale. And inhale, come back in. Now if you don't stabilize the spine, you will notice it wanting to maybe arch up a little at this stage. Keep the back in a place that feels supported and safe, and where most of the work is coming from the front of the body, so your abdominals more than a bracing pattern in those short, strong back muscles. Two more reaches, exhaling and narrowing your waist, bring it right back in, and a final set. Bring that in, grab your own legs, give them a nice big hug in towards your chest. And then holding one shin with each hand, just separate your legs a little. You've got some space now for your feet and ankles to draw some circles. 5, 4, getting the toes involved for 3, 2, and 1, and then you reverse your circles. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Flex your feet, pulling the toes up to the kneecap, and then extend to a pointed foot and ankle. Flex the feet again, and point reach. And there'll be 3 more there. Shouldn't be a lot of tone in the legs, upper part of the leg at least, because you're holding the weight of the legs with your hands. Focus on the feet, maybe some feeling in the calves and shins. One last one. Finish with slightly pointed feet. Draw your legs together and give yourself a nice big hug. On an exhalation, curl the head up. Bring your nose close to your knees. Transfer your hands to behind your head. Squeeze the heels together. The feet are a little bit pointed and the toes are relaxed. Inhale your legs away. Exhale, bring them back in. Inhale away and come back in. Now the upper body's nice and lifted. The chest and the upper back are wide. Let's take one more of those. Reach your legs away. Come back in. Turn feet and legs to parallel. Flex feet, curl toes. Inhale out through those legs and come back in. See if you can get your feet almost to a place where they're going to cramp on you. We worked a little bit through the ankle joints already with the circles, so they should be warm enough that you push them and try and create a new shape with those feet. Last one, breathe it in, and then to relax that footwork, flex the feet and pull your toes up, kick out through your heels, and draw it right back in. Now at this point, usually people's upper bodies have started to soften down. I know yours wouldn't have, of course, but you could do a double check that as you bring those legs in and out, your upper bodies are still nice and high. Last one, bring the legs in, and then stretch your legs away, but higher than you did before. Flatten your abs out, point your feet, flex your feet. Point, flex. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Bend your knees all the way in towards you, and then lower the legs down and slide them out to straight. Hands come down by your sides on the mat. Notice the front of the shoulder joints. Try and melt them open. If you're in self-isolation for COVID-19, you've probably been spending a lot of time in front of a screen. Try and melt the chest into a place where it feels a little more generous, a little more spread out across the collarbones. Keep that generosity as you reach through the fingertips and curl just your upper body up to roughly the equivalent curl of 100s, and then lower all the way down. I'd like you to do that again. Curl up and reach through the fingers. Sometimes I see such an enthusiastic reach through the legs and through the arms that tension's created. So we want length, but there's also a sense of drawing the limb up into the socket, the same cueing we had before. I'm going to keep with that upper body curl. If your neck is bothering you at all, just bring your hands to behind your head. Add a leg. As you curl the upper body up, barely lift your right leg, and then bring it all the way back down. Curl up, barely lift your left leg. And as you're curling up and down, the leg is turned out slightly, so the lifting comes from the inner thigh, more than from the quadricep group in the front. Last one left, and come down. From here, nod the chin, curl the upper body up, no legs yet. Once you've found that curl, soften your upper chest a little more to curl a bit higher. Hold there. Maybe curl a little higher still. Hold there. And then once you feel like you're in a higher place than you were before, drag your legs in and then extend your legs away on a diagonal for your 100s. Start to pump your arms. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. And out, 2, 3, 4, 20. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 30. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. And pump, 2, 3, 4, 40. Squeeze your heels and squeeze your bums and breath. 2, 3, 4, 50. Maybe lower legs if you're feeling strong. And out, 2, 3, 4, 60. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 70. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 80. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. And generate a little heat as breath. 2, 3, 4, 5. Last 5. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower all the way down and flex your feet. Separate those legs to mat distance apart, or hip distance apart, I should say, and then float the arms up and breathe them all the way over your head. From this position, with long and extended fingertips, float those arms back up. Nod the chin, and with the softening of the chest cue we explored before, curl up through your spine. Think of coming up and over as you reach forward on 1, 2, 3, and then start to roll back down, plugging your arms into their sockets. And reach over. Now the first one's always a little rough feeling, at least it is for me. So as you float up, each and every time you curl up, try and find more contact of your low back into the mat. Pulse 1, 2, 3. And then the same is true on the descent. Squeeze your bum like crazy, reach your legs away from you, and see if you can get every single vertebra of the lumbar in towards the mat for at least a moment. Soften the chest, curl up. As you're taking these pulses, abs pull back, 2,
3. So it's not a bounce, but a kind of a furthering of the shape. If you know you've got long hamstrings, don't worry about stretching the hamstrings on those pulses. Focus instead on finding a little more bend in your spine, almost like you're filling your low back into the back space with those pulses, and then melt back down. Squeeze your bum and release. We take one final one. Curl yourself forward on your 1, 2, 3. Now instead of rolling back this time, roll up to vertical, glue your legs together, and I'd like you to make fists. Punch the knuckles together. You could flip the palms to face outward. We're going to riff off of the back rowing series from the reformer work. Bend your spine into a bit of a C curve, and then I'd like a half roll back. And as you roll back, the fists come into your chest a little, the elbows might float up, and then just come right back up to vertical for me. Let your pelvis initiate that roll back, arms draw in slightly, and come back. Now you do technically go back and down, but inwardly I want you to feel like you're still really, really lifted, so there isn't a downward energy or a dump in this, and then come up. We add some fancy arms. Half roll back. Hold that half roll back shape, reach the arms forward and out to the side. Once they're reaching, that should be kind of hard to hold them there. Bend your spine forward. Take the arms to behind you. Maybe even interlace your fingers or clasp your hands. And then take the arms up. There should be a stretch in the shoulder at this moment. And then reach those arms forward and past your own feet. And then pull them back into your center. There's your exercise. Half roll back to begin. Open the arms out. Bend your spine. Think of using the abs to come forward. Arms reach way back. Float those arms up, and then they reach forward and you fold a little further forward. Now you've only got one more of these. Try and make the shapes just slightly bigger than they were. Half roll back. The arms open out. Lift to come up and forward. Press the arms behind you, and then shoulder stretching moment, and fold. This time grab your own feet or legs and give yourself a pull into a deeper shape. Take a single long breath cycle there. And then you can roll all the way up through the spine. Take the arms forward, flex your feet. Roll down onto your back. Don't take the arms overhead though. This time bring those hands down by your hips and press them in towards the mat. Once they're there, adjust, make sure your head and feet are on your mat, and then reach long through the right leg to float it up towards the ceiling. Turn the leg out in the socket for single leg circles. Inhale, leg across your body to the left. Exhale, down, round up, and a momentary pause. Inhale, down, round up, and exhale, pause. Inhale, exhale, circle. There's 3, 2 more, 4. Down, round, and up, and one last one. And you're around and up. Reverse the direction. Inhale out right, circle it around. I'd like a heavy left buttock as the leg opens to the right, but then you can allow that right bum to come off a little as you go into the crossed over portion of the circle. 2 more here. Circle around and up. Start to use this to introduce a little bit of rotation and movement in the lowest part of your back. Stop at the top, and then a strong switch of your legs. Lift left as you lower right. With a flexed bottom right foot and an active reaching left leg, circle to the right, down, round, up, and stop. Inhale, down, round, up, and stop. Here's 3. Down, round, up to stop. 2 more, 4. And you're around, and last one, 5, using the inner thigh to take that leg across the midline. Reverse, down, round, and up. Inhale, and exhale. It is not a cheat to use your arms, so activate the triceps to open the front of the chest and maybe to get the back of the shoulder joint a little heavier into the mat. Final one, finish with a high leg, keep it there. Draw the other leg in and extend it up to join it. So you've got both legs in the air now. Micro bend your knees, cross one ankle over the other. Nod your chin, curl your upper body up. Option number 1, hands are reaching to your ankle. More neck-friendly option, hands are behind your head. Either way, keep the micro bend in the knees, and I'd like a little pulse of your upper body, going up 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Change your ankles on your 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Change ankle, cross, pulse 4, 3, 2, 1. Change 4, 3, 2,
1 on 2s, 1, 2, change, 1, 2, 4 singles, 4, change, 3, and 2, and 1. Hug your knees in towards your chest, give them a nice big squeeze. From that squeeze, wrap your hands around the back of your knees, swing yourself up to seated, scooch so that you're in the front third of your mat. Wrap your hands around your feet or ankles and draw the legs in nice and tight. And I'm pressing my legs out into my arms. I'm pressing my arms into my legs. So there's this creation of a kind of a positive tension through the limbs. Add tension in the abdominals by pulling and scooping your belly back and slightly retracting your shoulder blades. With the eyes down between your heels and your buttocks. Inhale, roll back. Exhale, come up. Back of head never touches as you rock. And roll. Is 3. And come up. And the heart and soul of this is maintaining the shape as you move through space. Do one more. Come up and stay. Hold right there. Feet have not yet touched the mat. Shift your elbows to your knees and your hands to your temples. Now without using the hands to help you hold on to your shape, inhale, roll back. Exhale, come up. Keep the elbows and knees connected. Inhale. And exhale. Now if, like me, you're a little flat in your low back, it's hard to roll through that area. So pull the abs in the front to try and maintain a roundness in your lumbar. Let's do one more to come up and balance. Hold right there. And then with control, because Pilates used to be called contrology, hug your knees in tight, roll down onto your back, pulling the right leg in as you reach your left leg away. Right hand, right ankle. Left hand, right knee. Pull in close, reach the other leg away, and you start to change the legs. Breathing in and out and out. Breathe in for 2. Strong exhale, reach and in, out, out. You're splitting the thighs and reach. Last breath cycle through. Finish with your exhales. Keep exhaling as both legs come in and squeeze tight. You're back to that rolling like a ball shape. Inhale, arms overhead, legs away. Hold 3, 2, 1. Circle, squeeze. Inhale, stretch. 2, 3, and circle, squeeze. 3 more. 2, 3. And watch what happens to your back as you reach. Don't let it change in relationship to the mat. Keep it nice and tight. Some of you may have some space under there, some of you may not, it doesn't matter, but don't let that be changed by the reaching lever of the limbs. Last one. And come back around. Both legs extend to the ceiling. Grab the back of one leg and lower the other leg down. Now you pull on the leg you're holding onto to bring your upper body up higher. Draw the elbows back. The shoulders glide downward ever so slightly so that they feel integrated into your back. Double pull on your lifted leg. Pull, pull, change. Pull, pull, change. Pull, pull, change. Think of the splits as in splitting the energy of the 2 reaching legs. So as much as you're pulling on the one leg, stretch the other leg away. Elbows draw open, chest is fighting to stay open, and you're drawing your abs back like crazy. Let's do one more on each leg. Pull, pull, and last one, pull, pull. Hold whichever leg you've got, bring the other leg up, glue them together, and bring your hands to behind your head. From there, with active inner thighs, squeeze your bum as you lower your 2 legs down, bring it right back up. This is a lot, potentially, so maybe only lower your legs a couple inches, unless you're feeling amazing, in which case go all the way down, and come right back up. Last 2, not too slow, and come up, final 1. Breathes up, holds there, nobody's favorite, obliques twist. Rotate to the right knee and pull your right elbow back, change legs. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold your last one. Doesn't matter which knee you're twisted towards. 8 little pulses in that direction. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Change legs and sides and you pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And you change legs. Just 4, 3, 2, 1. Change 4, 3, 2, reaching through all your points. 2, change 2, singles 4, 3, 2. With no collapsing, hug both knees in towards your chest, lower your head all the way down. Take a breath, and then as we did before, switch the hands to behind your knees and swing yourself up to seated. I'd like your heels towards the front corners of your mat. So it means your legs are about mat distance apart. Give yourself a little wiggle. Make sure you're right up on your sits bones. If you're a little on the tighter side, bend your knees, no problem there. From this position, a couple variations on this exercise. Start with your arms high.
And for a moment, because you're in your own home and nobody else is looking at you or judging, lift everything up. Lift your shoulders up, lift your waistlines up, lift your eyebrows up, feel your hairline lift. Once everything is picked up, just let the shoulder girdle get heavy, but stay lifted through everything else, especially your midsection. Now from that midsection, grow 1 millimeter taller. Bend your spine into a C curve and maybe lightly touch your shins with your fingers. Roll all the way back up. Exhale. Scoop the guts in and up and round forward and come up. Choose to make this really muscular feeling. So as you're rounding, you're drawing the viscera up and underneath the rib cage. 2 more like that. Exhale. C curving the spine and come up. And one last one. Make sure you got the bottom part of the C curve, that little subtle curl of the tail between the legs, and come back up. Nice. Version number 2. Bring your arms forward. Keep the upper arms plugged into their sockets, and then start as we did with that rounding shape in the spine. Then engage in through the hips and the legs to stretch further. No pulses here, just a long reach. Come right back up to vertical, eye lines up and forward. Round your spine up to find the C curve, and then take your C curve forward and come back. Pilates is a lot about opposition. So you find your C curve, and then as you're reaching forward, feel like you're still trying to flex your spinal column backwards and come all the way back up. Like if someone's hand was on your low back, you press into their hand as you C curve, and then you keep reaching your back towards where their hand was, even though you do disconnect, and come back up. One last one. Round up and forward. Find the C curve, strong muscular limbs, and come all the way back up and rest for a moment. Hands come to your shins. Feet point gently. With a little bit of that same C curve skill set, scoop the belly in and begin to roll back. Pull your legs in towards your body to lift them up and grab them. Take a little bit of a lift in your upper chest. From that lifted upper chest place, scoop in the abdominals, roll back, and come up and catch. Open leg rocker. You rock, and you roll. Like in the rolling like a ball exercise, I'd like you to press your legs into your hands into your legs, and I'd say no wider than that distance apart. Otherwise, things can get out of control. You've got one more to come up and to stay. Hold right there. Glue your legs together. Thinking of your teaser, release your arms. Rotate, turn the legs out, crisscross your legs. 22, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold it a little higher up out of your low back, and then as you lower down, I'd like you to bend your knees in and place the hands down on the mat. Once they're there, level 1. Tip your 2 knees to the right. Don't rest here though. Bring them right back through the center. Go to the left. And come center. As your knees go right, your left bum will come off the mat. That's cool. And scoop and bring it back. You're rotating the spinal column to initiate this movement. And come back. Hold there. If that felt great, legs up towards the ceiling. Hands a little more active into the mat. Take those straight legs towards the right. You won't go as far. Bring them up to the center. As your legs go left, pull the right side of your rib cage and pelvis down towards the mat. They might not touch, but I want an oppositional energy. Like you're wringing out a wet washcloth here. Last one left, and come back. Now you do whichever of those felt good, or if you want a little more, go right. Send the legs down, around to your left, up, stop. Go left, down, round, right, up, stop. One more each should be plenty. And down, and around. Twisting from the base of the spine, down, around, and up. Bend the knees in, grab them, swing all the way up. Feet are once again that distance apart. Now because sometimes the stretch is nice, go a little further if you feel like you've got the mobility in your hips and you can sit there comfortably. From this place, grow as tall as you can, energetically reach through fingertips, and feel a sense of your wingspan. So the arms shouldn't come behind you, they'll break off the back. Keep them slightly forward in your peripheral vision. Rotate to the right and get taller as you do. Reaching left baby fingers to right baby toes. Do a gentle reaching pulse. 1, 2, 3. Reach through your back arm to assist you in rolling up. Spiral through the center. Go the other way and reach. 1, 2, 3. Bring it up through the center, spiral through and up. 1, 2, 3. Breathe it tall and go left. Your right buttock is heavy into the mat as you twist, so that you stay grounded through your opposite side. Engage those obliques, twisting your ribs and your upper spine. Last one, strong exhale. And come up. Breathe it through the center. Bring your arms and your legs towards the center, and then rest. I'd like you to swing your legs around so that you end on your stomach. Once you're on your stomach, we'll start with the hands underneath your forehead and the legs slightly apart. Take an exhale to soften the upper back into the mat, to lengthen your low back, and to find your deep abdominals and your powerhouse in this new position. From here, inhale to rise your upper back up slightly and lower down. Inhale up with length, then come down. Most common complaint in any extension-based work is that people start to feel a little compressed in their low backs. And there's a whole bunch of possible reasons. It's a complicated thing to unpack. One of the best cues, though, that sort of universally helps out is a feeling maybe that you're reaching your ribs and your head forward and away from your pelvis. So as you come up, don't sit back into that low back. Stretch out of that compressed state. Now, if you've got a feeling that the upper body is reaching nice and long, you can also reach your tailbone slightly back towards your heels. So you've got 2 directions of stretching the spine, opening up that lumbar. Last one of these, lower down and rest for a moment. Take a breath, let everything soften. Come into breaststroke prep with the arms, and keep the legs nice and heavy and your bums relatively relaxed in this one for me today. Starting with the hands underneath your forehead, create just a little bit of connection of arm into back by floating the elbows a millimeter off the mat, not high, and then glide the upper arm bone down slightly in towards your torso like you're plugging the arms in. Having found that integration, let that pickup of the elbows help you engage the musculature between your shoulder blades as you lift your upper body slightly off the mat, only very slightly. From here, arms reach forward. As the arms reach out, reach back through your fingertips, send that upper body a little more forward if you can, and then lower back to the hover. It's like you're swimming in a swimming pool. You swim through and propel yourself forward, lift your upper body up, grab some air, and then dive back down. Just 3 more. And lower. Usually an inhale as you come to the height of that extension. And then you exhale to lower. One final one. Lower all the way down. This time place your hands on the mat underneath your shoulders. Wrap the elbows into you and glue your legs together. If that doesn't feel good, don't do it. Once you are there, press into the palms and start to rise the upper body up. As you come up, often the legs will self-adjust. They'll come a little wider or they'll turn out a little. I would say listen to that and let the wisdom of your body sort of inform where your legs should be for you today. In the Pilates teaching manual, it says glued together in parallel, but that can be a bit of an unyielding shape, so you do you. We'll take 3 more of those. Forward to come up. You're stretching the front of the body in these exercises, and then you claw the fabric of the mat to pull your body forward to lower. Last 2. Collarbones are high. They don't really spin, but you can almost imagine that they rotate in place, and that rotation allows you to come up nice and high. From there, lower yourself down. Press your bum back over your heels, and take a shell stretch there for a moment. From there, come halfway up to a 4-point kneel. Walk your hands a hand's width further away, and your legs so they're glued together. Now, if you drop towards child's pose in this position, because of the adjustment we just made with the hands, your bum shouldn't make it all the way down to your heels. That is by design. So, holding the hands and the legs in the current positions, round your back like a cat stretch. You're going to ripple forward. And then as you come forward, squeeze your bum, squeeze your inner thighs, pull the pubic bone up and lift your chest slightly. And then I'd like you to start with your low back and begin to round backwards to shift your bum towards your heels. Don't move your hands. From there again, round into your low back. Ripple through the spine. Find a thoughtful forward and extended position. It's a little bit like down stretch from the reformer. As best you can, curl your tail between your legs and roll back. And I'm just going to do one more then. It's really hard to find flexion in the lumbar as an initiator from this forward and extended position, but aim for it. See if you can lift your abs up enough in the front that you feel that low back being encouraged to open. From here, shifting forward, find that shape, extended, long, lifted, supported, bend your elbows, single tricep push-up, and press back, round through, and shift. We'll round, extend, single tricep push-up, elbows tight to your body, and then press it all the way back. As you continue to work, we'll up the tempo just a little. Do try and take the time you need to establish the shape. Use your abs to round back. 2 more. As much as anything, I'd say we're warming up into the shoulder joints, exploring some weight bearing in the hands. Last one. And come back. If that's enough, stay in the child's pose. If you want to up the ante for one final set, come forward, establish the shape. 10 tricep push-ups. You either keep those knees on, or if you're feeling amazing, lift your legs all the way up. From there, with me, inhale down, exhale up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not too slow. 5, 6, 7. If that's enough, you stop. 8. If not, finish. 9. And one last one. 10. Lower your knees if they were lifted. Send your bum back towards your heels. This time, do let your hands slide down the mat so you end up with your bum on your heels. Starting at the base of the spine, roll all the way up, and then come right up onto a high kneeling position. Cost benefit on this exercise, this next one, is a little questionable for some people's knees. So we don't do a lot of them. If your knees don't love it, don't do it. Start with your arms forward, intubate into the torso, and then press the top of your shins into the mat like crazy. Once they're pressed in, engage your glutes and your hamstrings. Feel a lifting up of your pubic bone and a lengthening down of the back. Once you feel like you're really stacked and beautifully upright, I'd like you to hinge backwards, taking your eye line down the bridge of the nose, and then press into your shins and grow just a little taller and more active as you come back up. It's called thigh stretch, and that's what we're aiming for. A sensation of stretching the quadriceps in the front, and then press back up. I mentioned this one can be tricky for some knees. Imagine a squishy ball or a similar prop in between your knee joints so that as you're going back and forth, there's a little bit of inner thigh support. Just 2 more. Tight and held in the front. You've got a little secret hint of a sit-up going on. And one last one. And we'll come all the way up and you lower your arms right down. From this position, swing your legs around for me if you would so that the feet are at the front edge of the mat and flexed. In an ideal world, you have a fuzzy strap to help to anchor your legs. We won't have that today, so we'll do some explorations of how we might undertake a variation on the neck pull exercise. Interlace your fingers, bring the hands to the base of the skull, and then lift up tall. Now this is tough, especially in your low back, and you don't really feel tall. Bend your knees a little bit. Feel like you're pulling your thigh bones into you, and see if that lets you pick up even more. Once you've found a position where you feel picked up in your low back, because that's what I'm most interested in, pull your skull up longer, glide the blades down the back, and then a hinge in a flat back, like the thigh stretch we just did, just back to 45, pull it right back up. Hinge back, and come up. Your front ribs are tethered in. There should be no feeling of compression in your low back because you're lengthening up on that long diagonal. And the recovery comes in part from you pulling your thigh bones into their sockets. One last one. Exhale it up. So we're going to call that part 1. Add another portion of the exercise by rounding forward and gently pulling on the back of your skull. You should get a kind of a delicious stretch right down into the mid-back. From there, inhale to roll up for me. Find that long, tall starting position. Continue to inhale as you go back into the hinge, and then come right back up. Exhale, flex forward, nose towards your navel. Inhale, rise up to a tall place, hinge it back. Exhale, pull leg bones into sockets, flex it forward. Last one like that. Hinge it back. Come up and around. Certain spinal positions or certain spinal shapes make certain exercises easier for some and harder for others. We're going to add the full version. I'm going to show some modifications though as we go through. Inhale back as before, and then exhale to round down, squeezing your bum and reaching through your legs. From here, inhale, start to curl up. You're going to get to a tricky spot where it feels like you can't go any further. Exhale, reach your arms forward, bring your hands to behind your head, flex forward. Inhale, roll up as tall as you can. Continue inhaling as you lengthen back. You are still tall. Exhale, roll your pelvis away from the thigh bones and melt all the way down. Inhale, start to come up. When you get to the tricky spot, shoot the arms forward to assist you through there and around. Ripple all the way back up. Last one, hinge, long, tall, strong, active, glued together legs. Exhale, half roll back. And then inhale, come up. Reach the arms forward. And then bend. Enjoy this final stretch. And then roll up. From this position, arms reach out to the side. Flex your feet. Imagine them standing on a flat surface so one leg won't slide in front of the other in this exercise. And then with those still stable legs as your foundation, rotate right 3 pulses. 1, 2, 3. Come center, go left, 2, 3. Keep the legs quiet. 1, 2, 3. There's a nice moment in this exercise to create a little bit of a tack. So you kind of bring the body a little bit forward into the rotation. So you've got a little bit of an abdominal scoop. You're not rounding, but you're not leaning or backing away from the idea. Last one each side, 2, 3, and left, 2, 3. Bring it forward, lower the arms down, point your feet. Now the transition we employed for our open leg rocker had us rocking back and pulling the leg bones into their sockets. We'll employ that to come into a full teaser. Take the arms forward, gather and lift up as you have beautifully a number of times, and then do a half roll back. As you half roll back, pull your legs in towards your body and float them up. Now I'm demonstrating straight legs. You could just as well be bent knee. That's cool. From here, keep your legs where they are. Roll down until the bottom tip of your shoulder blades touch. Curl back up and reach to your legs. And come down. In an ideal world, your arms are going to be on roughly the same diagonal as your legs. One last one. And come up. Hold there. Now your legs tether into your low ribs. Sort of lower your legs and then lift them. You have to move those low ribs. Pull the ribs back to pick them up. And just one last one. Hold from there. Legs don't move. Arms come up. Arms come down. Arms come up. And arms come down. One last cycle through of that. Finish with your arms in a high place and then slowly lower all the way down. Don't check out at the bottom. One full teaser. Pull the legs in towards you. Grow tall and lift it out of your low back. Start to melt back down. And release. Usually an inhale on the way up. You're there, full of breath, really lifted. And then exhale slowly down to melt back. Don't take a break at the bottom. Last one. Inhale, come right up to tall, and then exhale slowly down. Now I said last one, but we're actually going to do just the first part one more time. It's the prerogative of the fitness teacher. Come all the way back up. From here, bend your elbows. Place your hands on the mat and tip back so that you are on your forearms. Walk your elbows a little bit closer together. Straight legs is great, bent legs is great. Somewhere in between is also great. So go to a place that feels good to you. Once you're there, and I'm going to demonstrate straight legs today, tip your legs to the right. Your left bum will come off. Take your legs down, pull your stomach in like mad, like literally more than you ever have so far in class, and then bring the legs all the way back to the center and stop. Go left. Legs reach away, abs pull back in opposition to your beautifully reaching legs. Come all the way back up and stop. You've got 4 more, go right. Stretch down, around, and up. And then go left, reach, pull your abdominals back. Try and flex your back to the mat. That's impossible, but go for it anyway. Inhale, pull, 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 around and come up. And one last one. And around. And finish with the legs in the up position. Bend your knees, shoot the legs forward, fold into a forward bend. Take a breath or two. And then you can roll up through your spines. Bend your 2 knees in, please. And bring them so that the legs are stacked. Knee over knee, ankle over ankle, and foot over foot. Grab one or both ankles with your left hand. And then grow as tall as you can. So you are just on the one bum right now. Float the right arm up towards the ceiling. Maybe even choose to lift your right shoulder up a little because it's going to deepen the stretch. And then go over into a side bend. Inhale, come right back up. 2 more like that. Exhale over. You're bending your left elbow to help to muscularly pull you into the shape and come back. Reps are short in Pilates. This is your last one. Make it your best. And then come all the way back. First part only, side bend, stay. Bend the right elbow, hand comes to behind your head. Turn to look to that right elbow. On an exhalation, rotate in on yourself. Inhale, come up, look to the right elbow. Gently pull on the back of the skull. You're stretching the back and the sides, finding some of those sticky in-between spots. One last one. Inhale to reopen. Extend the right arm. Float everything all the way up and lower to rest. Good. Other side right away. And just drop your bum over towards the other direction and stack your legs. Grab hold of those shins. Make a really nice tight shape. This is ripping off of the mermaid series from the reformer work. Take your left arm up towards the ceiling. Maybe elevate that left shoulder. Exhale, go over. And come up. That was number 1. Make number 2 more impressive in some fashion. Reach. And come all the way back up. One last one. Reach. Hold there. And then come all the way back up. Now we add that twisting element. Take yourself into the side bend. Bend the left elbow. Turn the eye line up. Exhale, twist, take your eyes to your back heel, and then rotate and shift the eye line. Exhale all your air. Inhale, come right up. And you've got one last one, big exhalation. Come up, reach the arm long, float it back, and you can lower all the way down. Good. I'd like you to come into roll over with some leg circles. This is meant to be the 3rd exercise in this series, but I feel like it's a fairly aggressive gambit to toss out at that stage in class. So you should be warmer and maybe better able to do this. If this does not work for you, don't do it. Instead, you can do some hip rolls or hip lifts, anything else that makes your back feel good. Let's start all the way down on your back. Legs are reaching, arms are planted into the mat. Now lifting the legs from this position is demanding, so we're going to call that your hard option. An easier option is to bend your knees in first and then extend your legs on about a 45-degree angle. Your choice. From wherever you choose to start your legs, on the mat or at the 45, feel like they connect into your center. Draw the legs from where they are up to about 90-degree angles at the hip. From here, use your arms, use your belly, and bring the legs over your head. Now if you can touch the floor over your head, do so. Flex your feet. Separate by mat distance, flex your feet, and then with flexed feet begin to roll down. Your bum touches light, and then you take your legs down to wherever you feel you can support. Might be the mat, might be the 45, glue them together, point your feet, bring them up and over. If you can't touch the floor, don't worry about it. Just hold, flex, separate, flex, and then roll all the way back down. You can omit that little rocking moment. You have one last one here. Glued together legs and pointed feet at the bottom. Bring your legs up, scoop. Separate and flex. And then pull the navel to the spine and melt down. Now your next and final 3 are the reverse. Open the legs at the bottom. Take them over with your flexed feet, rock. Glue them together, rock. And then as you point the feet and roll down, don't drop your kneecaps down towards your nose. Be pressing the legs a little bit away so the hamstrings engage. This is especially true as a note for my bendy friends. Flex your feet, take your legs over. Rock, glue them together, rock. Point your feet. Think of pushing into the straps or the springs for those who have seen that work on the apparatus. Last one, engaged abs at the bottom. Bring the legs up and over. Rock. Rock, and then pointed feet melt down. This time, for everyone, bend your knees, place the 2 feet down on the mat by your bum. Rearrange or resettle your arms and shoulders. Once you feel strong here, press into the feet and lift your hips up into the air. Hold there for a moment. Narrow and tighten the ribs. Pull the front of the rib cage slightly in to deepen your integration into your abdominals in the front. And then I'd like you, nice and easy, to reach long through the right leg and take it up towards the ceiling. Hold it there. By flexing your left hip,
Lower your bum down to the mat, lift your bum up. Go 10, 9, 8, 7. Lift with length as best you can. 5, reach 4, 3, 2, and last one stays up there. Hold, flex your right foot, keep the right leg straight, lower it down, point lift. Flex lower, point lift. Is down and up and down and up. Last 2. And final 1, ends in the low place, bend it in, place it down. Do not lower your hips, reset as required. Extend through the left leg, take it up towards the ceiling. Flex at your right hip, lower your buttocks down to almost touch the mat, lift up and press and press and press. Stand into your right big toe, engage into your right inner thigh, and keep as square as you can. 9, hold, 10. Flex left foot, lower left leg down, flex lower, point lift, down, up, 3, lift, 2, and 1. Finish with the leg in the low place, bend it in, place it back down on the mat, and lower your bum all the way down. From here, hug your knees right in towards your chest, give them a squeeze. And then you can grab the back of your legs and swing yourself all the way up. From here, and take some side kicks. I'd like you to roll onto your right hand side to begin. Please have your body at the back edge of your mat, your 2 feet towards the front edge of your mat. Slightly stick your bum out, not a lot, but so it's not tucked under and sort of bunched up underneath you. And then once you are in that position, you can use the left hand to stabilize on the mat in front of you a little bit. Lift your top leg, and I'd like you to flex the foot as it comes forward with a double pulse, point back. Flex, flex, and point. My bottom right leg is really active. I like to stand into the baby toe side of that foot. Finish with the leg behind you, medium-sized leg circles, forward, up, and around. 2, 3, go 4, and 5. Meet the bottom leg in reverse. Keep it turned out and around 1, 2. Stable hips. You're a little bit picked up under your bottom waistline. There might not be space, but there's definitely engagement. Last one, glue the legs together. A little dynamic change. Faster, sharper, and clearer. With a pointed left foot, take the leg up. Point lift, flex lower. Point lift, flex lower. Here's 3, 4, 5. Keep it flexed. Flex it up. Point it down. Flex it, lift. Point it lower. And up and down. Last 2. And down. Final 1. And down. And then you roll onto your stomach. Now that should leave you right in the middle of your mat. Your hands are underneath your forehead. Find length in your low back, squeeze your bum like crazy, and then by engaging the hamstrings, float your 2 legs off the mat, mere millimeters. Open and close your legs for a little grasshopper beat. Out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in. Now as you proceed along, because we're doing a lot of them, soften the upper body down. Let it get longer, more relaxed. Put all the work below the belt in this one, and 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lower all the way down and rest. Good. From here, swing yourself around so that you are on your left side, and it ends up being a right working leg. Same setup, back of your back in line with the back edge of the mat. Find a stable arm to help you out, and then pick your top right leg up. Double kick forward, pulse, pulse stretch back, front, front, back. 3 of 5, kick and back, really pull in and stay back. Medium-sized circle, forward, up, and around. Now, super fancy detail. You're turned in a little bit as you go to the back, but then you turn it out to come forward. It will rotate a little in the socket. If you listen for that, the rhythm is there in your own body. One last one here. And then you reverse. You'll be a little bit turned in, but then you turn it out to come forward. Allow that inward and then outward spin. You're sort of giving permission as much as anything else in this part. Last 2. And a final 1. Reaching along through the leg, glue them together for a moment with a pointed right foot. Point up, flex down. Point lift, flex lower. Well, that foot articulation from way back at the beginning of class can come into play here. Change the pattern, flex up, point down. Flex lift, point lower. Here's 3 and 2 is 1. Glue the legs together. Once again, roll onto your stomach. Hands are underneath your forehead, legs are long. Using all the skill sets we practiced before. As one movement, reach through legs, lift upper body, take your arms forward if your shoulders will allow, and then slowly start to flutter, kick your arms and legs. If this feels like too much, omit something. Don't do the arms. Don't do the legs. If this feels like it's reasonable and you're up for a little more, lift the eye line higher, the upper chest higher, and then you could speed up your swimming. Whatever you're doing for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower all the way down and rest. Press your bum back over your heels. Big shell stretch there. Take a couple breaths to rest in that shape. And then slowly roll up through your spine. I'd like you to place your hands on the mat, put weight into the feet, and just shift into a forward fold. The feet could be in a little Pilates V, you're hanging heavy, back of the neck, maybe let's go. And then from this position, walk out, 4, 3, 2, you're there on 1. Establish a long plank-like push-up position. I'd like a number that you like of push-ups. 5 is good, 10 is better, 20, 30, go for it, pause the video, just keep at her. I'd like elbows tight to the body, lower and lift, inhale, exhale, up, 2, up, 3, 4, 5, and that might be enough, or 6, keep going, 7, 8, 9, for video purposes, we're gonna call that 10, the last one. Swing your heels apart, send your bum back towards your heels and into the air like a downward dog. Press into the underarms, reach back to the tailbone. Once you've created as much length and as much stretch in as many directions as you can slowly lower your knees lightly down and then come to a high kneel like we did in the thigh stretch before. Right foot steps forward, but not very far. Rotate your pelvis underneath you slightly, lift the upper chest and eye line, and then if you engage your back left buttock, you should feel a stretch in the front of your thigh, and that's where I'd like you to get it. If you're there, don't change a thing. If you're not feeling it, a little more curl under the tail, slight shift or transfer of the weight forward. Maybe feel like you're pulling the right thigh back into the socket and gliding that left side of your pelvis forward. After a breath or two, where you feel a stretch in the quad, just back away. Not an impressive shape outwardly, but should have been effective feeling. Bring your pelvis underneath you. Pull that left thigh bone back. Engage your right bum. Once you've had a breath or two there, bring your hands down towards the mat. Step your back foot forward so you are now parallel and hip distance apart. With a generous bend in the knees, press the floor away and slowly roll up through your spine. Take your time. Once you are all the way up to the tallest shape you can find, stand there in stillness. Maybe take a couple deep breaths. Hopefully the body feels evenly worked. Take a long reach of your arms out to the side. Peel your fingertips back. Reach out through the heel of the hands and see if you can get a stretch that goes from the center of your chest all the way down your biceps and into your forearms and wrists. Feel that openness in the front of the body. Slowly lower the arms, maintaining that feeling of generosity. Take one final inhale to grow tall. Exhale, maintaining the height, and you're all done.